There we go. I'm not. Maybe it's this.
Answer on.
The greatest talk show that ever has been, is, or ever will be. That's the Graveyard Shift talk show. Tonight, is Saturday, March 4th, 2017, and this is Graveyard Shift, Season 8, Episode 8. What a beautiful Duwang. I've got a knows manga or watches JoJo's Bizarre Adventure knows exactly what that is. Here we are, guys, tonight. Once again, no at some point, it's just like I always say, they're extremely busy. That because we have been uploading rather extensive or whatnot on our bid chat page, profile page. Get it on an app at your app store, or you can just go to bidchat.com. That's bidchat.com, and you can download it for free. And then our channel is actually called bidchat.com/graveyard shift. And then you can see there's little tabs. There's there's profile tab. There's you can actually help us promote the show, which I actually have seen some of you actually I shouldn't say some. Whatever you can to the show. And I want to say thank you we can't do this. And quite frankly, you know, as I've said before, this show is that we help with the show, that we help support, and there's so many of them. I really don't want to just, you know, highlight one and leave out the rest. So you could see all the charities that the show support. And I, of course, would like to thank one, you know, as always, our business sponsor for the season and episode, publisher with a lot of great literature to offer. Going to www.wtfbooks.net. That's, I want to thank them for their support this season. If you go there, you can see all the videos from past shows that have been on. Of course, we want to give all the love we have to our bid chat people over in LA. You know, this new kind of relationship, if you will, that we know it has. And anyway, you can send us a message there. You can bid to interact with me live during the show, which I always me. It's about you guys, and I want to hear your stories of weirdness. Kind of high strangeness, to quote the illustrious, the legendary Art Bell, is going on in your city, in your state. You know, there's always some kind of weirdness going on, and that's what the show. And of course, we take it from a lighthearted perspective, but that does not mean that we, as you can actually see from a story that I'm going to be mentioning tonight. Actually, in fact, in the past, when we first started, was a very avid, very active episode at the Bellevue Biltmore Hotel, which, as you know, was demolished recently, and they, I guess they're rebuilding it or something. I don't even know if they're doing anything, but anyway. Association of hauntings and of noises and member whose name I will not disclose, you know, for privacy. Ghost before, they never experienced anything like that before, and we went inside. All of a sudden, he just started freaking out, like he just visibly show fear like this. I mean, this was one of those take an act of Congress, and I'm sorry I say that. It takes something pretty major to shake this guy up, and to this, I don't know what happened just now. I don't know what it was that I just saw. We're still buddies and everything, but I'm out. And just like that, took us all by surprise, because he heard all the, you know, and this is not, I don't want him, if he's listening, to think that I'm dissing him, because I'm not. I mean, I still have a lot of love for him, and you know, in my heart, you'll always be a part of the show. But anyway, but I knew whatever did happen was next minute, white as a sheet. And, you know, it's the kind of stuff that happens. You could say you don't believe in, you know, I was a skeptic myself. And in that healthy skepticism. Because if somebody says, you know, logically, but whether or not it really is that's where you have to kind of draw the line, or not draw the line, but you have to kind of make up your mind and really investigate and see what is going on, get to the nitty gritty of it. And I don't make fun of them. I take them at their word. And, you can kind of, to get attention and who's really genuine to them. So at any rate, I know some of you audio clip. Quite frankly, guys, I don't know where it is, because when we did that episode, we were with the piece of dirt radio station that did not pay us. And, well, they paid us and then they stopped paying us. But anyway, I digress. So, unfortunately, they have a lot of those episodes. And is for something like that. I mean, obviously, content of the show, but the fact that it was broadcast on that station, I don't want to, I don't know if it's okay for me to play. Do you know about broadcasting rights? If for some reason a member of the FCC might be listening, which I know sometimes they do, hey, please contact me and let me know I can do it, because I have fans that are asking me and they want. That's one of the reasons why I want to hear from you guys, because I want and talk to you guys about what's going on in the world and in our country. Out there calling the show and interacting with me. And there are many different ways you can do that. If you're just listening to me on blogtalkradio.com/The Graveyard Shift, there should be a button right show or Skype. And listen, I'm not going to divulge your full name. Calling from, because sometimes we have people calling from other countries, and then you can tell me experience. That's okay. Maybe you want to talk about a previous episode, a story that I spoke about, or whatever. That's different. Well, anyway, that's one way of joining. Many of you are, and welcome to all of you new viewers, by the way, is you could click on the little bid to join the show on there, and then not only are you, and we couldn't ask for anything more than that, and which that's not that much, and if you want to wear a hat to conceal your identity. Okay, so what is going on in the world today? Somebody sent us a message about that. One second. But speaking of presidents, actually, a former president went on the very popular late night show Jimmy Kimmel Live, and they were talking about one of his books. This former President George W. Bush, and during the interview, Jimmy asked President Bush, former President Bush, I'm just going to say Bush because it's just too many. My gosh, mouthful. About now, this is a very common thing to ask talk show hosts do this. Now, I say this, but it's president or a senator or anybody in politics that would be given privy to stuff like asked Bush about the UFOs. And I actually happen to have the audio from that right here, and here it is. Oh boy, Jimmy, you got some ads there. All right, so well, there you have it. There's the so he. I think it's funny. First of all, I want to applaud the president for. I know it's Bush. I know because quite frankly, we don't know. It is. I mean, we kind of can guess, but first of all, I got to tell you guys, I quite frankly don't think that there is anything really, 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 really weird that the president can actually see. And I'll tell you why. I want you to think about our current president. Now, this is the kind of guy that basically tweets everything. Do you honestly think that President Trump information about aliens? Because I got to tell you, I think he would. I think he would say something like, just saw UFO information, blowing your mind, can't tell you. That effect. I mean, no, I really do think he would say that. Figures that came out in the past, we had astronauts that came out and said that many centuries. Art Bell and George Norrie of Coast to Coast AM fame have interviewed people in very high positions of office that have divulged, information saying that yes, we have been in contact with aliens, and well, there you have. Well, speaking of from presidents to queens, apparently there was a newspaper ad in the prestigious British publication, The Times, that asserted that a man in Colorado claims to be the rightful king of England. And I mean, it's real in the sense that it's a real ad, it's a real guy. Says that his lineage constitutes an unbroken line of succession. Now, Evans justifies his contention through a very elaborate and centering around a 3rd century marriage between royal houses. Newspaper notice goes on to inform all interested parties. I'm curious who would be interested. 17 different estates throughout England, which he argues are actually pretty ominous, but Evans does display somebody until after Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. The notice official government offices in the hopes of having his royal dispute resolved. That Evans has pursued, having taken a legal battle all the way to the Georgia Supreme Court, where he argued that his lineage entitled him to a piece of his home there. So, well, he lost that case apparently. So, well, we'll see how that works out. Something tells me it's not going to be in his favor, because I'm going to tell you something. Can anybody? I think most people that have English blood in them can pretty safely claim to be connected to some form of royalty in the past. If anyone that knows their English royalty history or monarchical history, you guys know that those kings and queens and the lords and the nobles, man, they slept around, okay? I mean, I'm sorry, but it's true. What else were they going to do back then? They didn't have iPads. They didn't have corner town and listen to the town crier and, so who knows? I mean, they've got the new DNA technology that you can send your DNA to be evaluated. I know I said I was going to do that, and I still have intentions to. I just had other things that I've been doing other than that. Speaking of DNA, you guys like how I segue? Because I love it. Artificial embryos, in quotes, have been created in a lab. Well, scientists in the University of Cambridge team have created artificial embryos using stem cells from mice in what they believe is a world first. Now, this team in the University of Cambridge used two types of stem cells and a 3D scaffold to create a structure closely resembling a natural mouse embryo. Now, previous attempts have had limited success because early embryo development requires different cells will improve fertility treatments. It could also provide useful insights into the way early embryos develop. However, experimentation on human embryos is strictly regulated. The mammalian egg has been fertilized, it divides to generate stem cells cluster together inside the embryo towards one end, forming the rudimentary embryonic structure known as the blastocyst. Now, the Cambridge team, which, by the way, their work is published in the journal Science, created their artificial embryo using embryonic stem cells and a second type of stem cell, which is called extra embryonic trophoblast stem cells. Try to say that 5 times fast, which form the placenta. So the lead researcher has been quoted as saying, "We knew that interactions between the different types of stem cells are important for development, but the striking thing that our new work illustrates is that this is a real partnership." Go on to say their embryos is unlikely to develop into a healthy fetus into the yolk sac and provides nutrition. The same team, by the way, recently to the legal limit of 14 days in the UK. Now, if they're successful in this, it could open the door to experimenting on embryos beyond the current 14-day limit. So we'll see how that how that pans out. And you never know, right? And speaking of eating, wasn't I just talking about eating? I'm sure you've heard of people, going to a restaurant, sitting down and eating and not paying for their food, just celebrating a baptism in a restaurant in a northwestern Spanish town. All fled the restaurant at the same time without paying. The diners, who had paid a deposit of 900 euros, El Carmen restaurant in Bembibre as dessert was due to be happened in the space of a minute. It was something they had planned, and they left in a stampede. So they owe 2,000 euros more, he added. Now, the owner gave the police the details on the reservation, but said he held out little hope of being repaid. Police told local papers they had not yet been able to contact any of the diners who are not thought to be Spaniards. If you're interested in what they ate, apparently they had a main course, 30 bottles of various alcoholic drinks. Time that he said in 35 years of working in the trade that he had ever seen anything even close to this. So there you have it. Oh boy, I tell you, this just doesn't get any weirder. Or does it? Of course it does. Excuse me. Okay, so that my whistle here, my voice is getting all dry. So pop culture comic book news. So we'll be right back on the Graveyard Shift. And once again, you want to participate, all you have to do is go to blogtalkradio.com/the Graveyard Shift. Click on the link to interact with me. You can call area code 347-237-5187, or you can go to bidchat.com/Graveyard Shift and bid to join in. This is Emmy from the Graveyard Shift. I'm punching in. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Hi, bid chatters. I gotta drink something. I don't know why I'm getting static. It shouldn't be. So this is obviously, for those of you who know anything about anime, this is from JoJo. Why is it doing that? And you know, I think it's only happening on the Blog Talk side. Weird.
Dinner was lovely, Emily.
The cook was Heidi. Oh, no, that Heidi little months ago. She had a problem closing things. The door, the refrigerator.
The liquor bottle.
Then it was Trina, then Sophia.
Well, I like Sophia.
You did not.
I didn't.
She was the one who sang.
That's right. Terrible woman.
And after Sophia, we had Anton.
That's right. Anton was the one that I liked.
I'm sorry, Dad, how do you mix up Anton and Sophia?
What do you mean?
Well, one is a man and one is a woman.
And your point being?
That one is a man and one is a woman.
I have a lot to do in a day, Lorelai. I don't have time to keep up with the multitudes of people that your mother employs.
Sorry. Her name is... Hey, Grandma. These plates are really pretty.
First.
I thought Mom was the first. Not in a day. Finishing your thought, Mom.
Well, Lorelai the first was my mother. She was an extremely accomplished equestrian, a distinguished patron of the arts, and she was also world famous for her masquerade balls. She was quite a woman, my mother.
Yes, she was. Mira, come cut the cake, please. Yes, and why don't you bring Sarah out here with you?
I don't know why I'm getting this static, guys. I have no idea. My cables are fine. I don't know. It's weird. Just waiting for the commercial to die down. Trying to get my voice rest. Oh, the static is bad. I wonder why it's happening. Weird. Here we go.
Physical fitness is as important as intellectual fitness.
Welcome to the second and final part of the Graveyard Shift Talk Show. This is Emmy. Man, my voice is getting really dry. I just, excuse me. I just, got over rather nasty cold there. My kids have gotten, and wow, I'll tell you. All right, so as I promised, words, whatever, paranormal stuff. So we start by a Utah Department of Transportation traffic cam. Now, usually when you are thinking of traffic cams, you think of them capturing, somebody running a light or. Well, apparently the DOT of this particular area their cam on their Twitter feed this weekend said we have 1,000 unusual things. According to their post, the photo was taken at a site known as West, but has been rendered a ghost town in modern times. And taking place in the area are part of local lore. Whether or not the image viewing, but one can't help see an apparition seemingly reacting with. I mean, I'm going to play the audio from this. I mean, it's kind of hard to, you can't really see it unless you can look it up on YouTube. In fact, what I'm going to do for our viewers is I'm going to post a link to this. We do actually have a YouTube channel. Now, why is this not? Well, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, so I just now posted video yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and play the audio from the actual story, and you can hear for here. Here you go. These are two journalists, obviously. They're obviously not taking it seriously. Not Bigfoot. Funny. Okay, so curious. I mean, these are, obviously very skeptical people. And, when someone that's not even into this kind of stuff sees something like this, in the times we're living in, photo manipulation is not out of the could be possible. Well, this next story definitely England was forced to leave their flat because they reported that her and her 1-year-old son were forced to flee their apartment. Detailed a number of strange events that occurred over the last few months, to her refusing to return to the apartment, which was provided by the city of York. Something unexplained violently scratching her back, and unseen forces seemingly tormenting her son to the point of hysterics. That's terrible. Additionally, the mother says that the presence in the home has times. Now, unfortunately, her attempts to document the haunting, such as an orb floating through a room. Now, of course, skeptics have been less than impressed with her proof. And, she's been quoted as saying, "I'm sick of people telling me there are reflections, light, or dust. And a psychic, but neither proved successful in eradicating the spirits." After the interventions failed, she tried to get the city to move her into a different apartment, but housing officials said her situation, the lady and her son abandoned the apartment around the start of the year and are refusing to return. She was quoted as saying, "I'm petrified to go back there with my son." And, basically that's it. And this kind of brings me to a very interesting discussion, because let's think about this for a second. So this woman has been experiencing these absolutely horrifying things in her apartment, and it became so terrible that she just abandoned it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that now, you want to skip on the rent, that's different, but that's not what this woman was. Yes, I'm a skeptic, but there's stuff like this that I do take very seriously. This is obviously somebody who was very distraught, and me having kids, I gotta tell you that really hits where she's coming from. And it's kind of sad that there aren't any, I don't know what you want to call it, just there's nothing that the city can do. I don't know. It's really sad. Of a in this apartment, or if there's activity, or if there's violence, if there's injury, that clearly the woman cannot scratch her own back. Well, I guess she could, but if there's no history of that, and I don't know, I think there should be some type of assistance for someone in this type of situation. Now, I will say this: some time ago, we interviewed specialized in selling houses that had been haunted, or rather fascinating. And if you can find the episode somewhere online, I would highly recommend listening to it, because it's actually pretty cool. Now, speaking of another haunted thing, after a treacherous thunderstorm, a St. Louis man was stunned. The remarkable scene, which was captured on film by the witness, was made all the more eerie due to its setting, a graveyard. Now, the rather haunting sight of a smoldering tree burst open from inside and billowing smoke. Now, experts, of course, say that the weird tree was not, in fact, a portal to the underworld, and that the tree exploded because moisture contained within it was rapidly heated up by a lightning strike. The scientific explanation, of course, has not stopped a few observers from claiming they could see demonic faces lurking in the flames, which, again, eye of the beholder kind of thing. This is one of those cases where, I kind of think that it's because of the lightning that happened in the thunderstorm. Just saying. Now, aside from that, this is definitely not something that you can make happen unless you are a very good animal trainer. Well, okay. got this video of these wild turkeys circling around this dead cat. I'm not joking. This is real. He shared a footage of this on Twitter of a flock of turkeys circling around a dead cat in the middle of the road in Randolph. Lots of questions. Within a few hours, the video had shared more than 6,000 video, and I was like, what the hell? You know, now here's the thing. A turkey expert was called in, okay? And this gentleman said the turkey behavior is unusual and really quite amazing, as are naturally fearful of cats, which can be a threat to young across the dead one in the road. They were very curious to see what was going on and whether it was alive. Now, at the same time, turkeys tend to follow a leader or two as they roam through suburban yards and of nuts, grains, and berries. No, not cats. Now, if it makes sense that the others would follow its lead while keeping a safe distance. Now, that being said, this expert said he had never seen footage. He actually showed it to some of his colleagues in the Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. It's not something that's ever really been documented until today. And, you know, he said, I would not even go to that extreme. So there you have wild turkey circles dead cat. It's kind of freaky looking. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's possible that maybe the turkeys were trying to figure out what was going on with the cat, but then why were they doing it in such a long time? And besides which, it would have been even weirder if the cat had woken up. Then we would have had a story. Well, more of a story. Now, unfortunately, here's another dead animal story. This is one that I'm sure many of you found out about, that hippo in El Salvador that was brutally attacked. Well, apparently the zoo is in trouble because an autopsy has revealed the animal in fact died of possible poor care. Now, the 15-year-old hippo, whose name was Gustavito, had been in the National Zoological Park in eastern San Salvador almost all his life, and he died February 26 after suffering 4 days. The government, giving information from the zoo, said the hippo had been stabbed and beaten by unidentified assailants 4 days earlier, resulting in internal bleeding. Well, this account triggered shock and revulsion in the Central American nation. It was relayed in international media reports. But again, the autopsy revealed no inch-thick skin. Instead, a detailed forensic examination, which is acute bleeding from the lung. Now, the culture minister said that in it, maybe could have died from the resulting stress. But a workers' union in her department had said the hippopotamus had been ill for 17 days before its death and alleged that authorities had not properly followed up on the matter. So, you know, what do we have here? I mean, maybe we have an instant of, you know, I don't think that's a very unusual thing to you never know. All right, moving on to other non-paranormal stories. Now we're at our, comics and movie stuff, more positive stuff. Well, this year, the Japanese Academy Awards, or more properly, Japan Academy Prizes, celebrated its 40th anniversary ceremony. And the honor of winning Best Picture of the Year, and it's what went to Shin. Other categories, including Outstanding Achievement in Cinematography, Outstanding Achievement in Lighting Direction, Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction, Sound Recording, Film Editing, Outstanding Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role, which was given to Hiroki Hasegawa, Outstanding Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role with Satomi Ishihara and Mikaku Ichikawa. So, congratulations to the King of Monsters for winning Best Picture of the Year. speaking of monsters, Logan, for good reason, has logged the best R-rated opening in March with $81 million. So how about that? Not only is that the widest release ever for an R-rated pick, it's the top opening for the restricted rating in March, beating 300, the movie 300's $70.8 million. Other records, it's the second best for the Wolverines franchise, the seventh best three-day debut for an R-rated movie. Logan cost just under $100 million before P&A, and it's forecasted to make another $100 million overseas this weekend. And, you know, from one Terminator to another, Terminator 2 is getting a 3D theatrical release this summer. So if you it's going to be released in 3D on August 25th for a limited theatrical run, the first time it's been presented in the format, I might add. So no home release was included in the announcement. Going to be awesome. I mean, I'm remembering the movie, and yeah, there were quite a few times that I think 3D would really suit it. Well, I'm sure many of you out there are looking. Well, apparently not in Russia. The Russian government officials are calling for the remake of the 1991 animated classic Beauty and the Beast to be banned if it violates that country's gay propaganda to minors. Well, director Bill Condon will have his own subplot that addresses the character's sexuality. And on another day, wants to kiss Gaston. So he goes on to say he's confused about what he wants. It's somebody who's just realizing he has these feelings. And, you know, Josh makes something really subtle and delicious out of it. And that's what has its payoff at the end, which I don't want to give away, but it's a nice exclusively gay moment in a Disney movie. Well, a member of Russia's parliament urged Culture Minister Vladimir Medinsky to screen the movie before its planned release in Russia to ensure that it complies with the country's laws. And if he discovers elements of propaganda of homosexuality, yeah, they're going to totally ban it, which I'd be interested in seeing this. Okay, so as far as more movies that are coming out, Tron Reboot is eyeing Jared Leto, I don't know, for lead. Apparently, no scriptwriter, directors attached, but Tron. They say that this new project is not a direct sequel. Leto would play a character named Ares, who has not appeared on screen before, but was a key player in that script. And, you know, I was talking about X-Men earlier. Well, future X-Men movies will not focus on the Xavier Magneto dynamic. So, you know, they got to move on at this point. They're trying to move away from the old movie plots, and it seems like the old movies plots are always centering around, you know, apparently the new approach is both liberating and you know, the two characters are still going to remain essential to the world of the X-Men, but there are other stories to tell. So we'll look forward to that. As I'm closing out, I'll tell you some comic book news. IDW and Hasbro team up for Clue Comic. So that'll be interesting. It's going to be published under license from Hasbro. The 5-issue miniseries will follow Miss Scarlet, notable characters from the game in the aftermath of the murder of Mr. Body at his own dinner party. And since I, you know, actually, you know what? I don't even have time. But I was going to say some anime stuff, but well, here we go. How about this? And there's a new Pokemon movie that's coming out. It's going to show how Ash and Pikachu became friends. And apparently we did get a first look at it last December. It was called Pokemon the Movie I Choose You. It was a little teaser. So it's going to hit Japanese theaters this July. So we're looking forward to that. Guys, that'll be it for tonight's episode. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Now, I will be interviewing Dr. Paul Banner hopefully next Saturday. So I might be broadcasting that interview in lieu of, I might still do a show. So anyway, you can catch me every Saturday night, 8:30 p.m., blogtalkradio.com/The Graveyard Shift and bidchat.com/Graveyard Shift, or just go to BidChat and search for Graveyard Shift. I want to thank all of you for listening. This is Emmy, and I am out of here. Punching out. Peace.